I'm joined by Emily Ballie, who I've known for quite a while. And actually, let's start with the first question because we were prepping ourselves for this. So, what's your name? I just said your name, but like, how do you know about me and AI? And you can talk about that too. But also, what are you doing now? And what are you doing, in marketing and education and AI?
Yes, well, thank you. Thank you, Stephen, for having me on here today. My name is Emily Ballie. I am a self-employed marketing educator, trainer, speaker, part-time professor, and artificial intelligence has really taken off in my business. So over the past year or so, I've been training groups all across Ontario and in other provinces as well on how to use artificial intelligence tools for their business. A lot of those folks are small business owners. A lot of them are nonprofit organizations. And a lot of those are just people who are curious about what is AI and what can it do for me. Before we started recording, we were saying, or I was saying, everybody's sort of figuring out as they go, and there's always more to learn. So what I do is I kind of break it down into plain language and help walk people through the steps of what they need to know for their particular business or organization and what they can kind of leave away and sort of not really worry about for the time being. I came into this platform very early on because I have known you for such a long time and Liz Oak as well. And naturally, I'm curious about all things marketing and AI. And I'm continuously learning new things every day as well.
Yeah, and you know what? That alone, I think that's another reason why Liz and I created it because we're all learning, and in many ways, the organizations that would support that aren't in some ways. Like post-secondary, I get it if you sign up for a course or a program, but even those are outdated or not up to speed. And then our professional associations, I mean, and I'm not slagging them, but the CMA or the AMA, they're stuck in that $300 for a breakfast in a nice hotel ballroom still world, right? Which doesn't really fit at this pace of this change, right? Martin and I were talking yesterday because both of us are old enough to remember the late 90s when the internet blew up and changed business, but now the speed is so much faster, right?
It really is. And I think people are getting a bit overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And that's natural. Like if you are, let's say, a small business owner or you are a marketing
Yeah.
professional, you probably already have a lot on your plate. You're
Yeah.
wearing many hats. You are probably trying to do more with less nowadays, in particular, since COVID. The pressures are real. And I think there's a lot of distractions out there,
Yeah.
particularly in the online world. And people are kind of going, okay, like, how do I make sense of this? And how do I start at the beginning, but also develop the skills and build on those skills in a reasonable manner? Like most people don't have time
Right.
to spend all day on AI as much as maybe some folks would like to,
Sure.
let alone if they have, family responsibilities and things like that. So I'm seeing a trend of more folks hiring me for shorter
Yeah.
sessions, and I think that's smart. Like you're breaking down maybe one or two particular skills, spending an hour of your day
Yeah.
devoted to learning something new. And then maybe you're going to come back and do another hour session at another time when your schedule permits. So I
And
think the
and
flexibility is key.
And also, you can't kind of say, and I think even a lot of enterprise sized businesses have fallen into this trap. You can't fix everything with AI in one fell swoop, right? It's find the use case or find the specific area where one, you can start using it and learn yourself, and also, apply it in a real tactical way. And then you have the social media world changing so dramatically with cookies and SEO and everything changing. So, all right, I just want to pause for a second, but because I just want you to list off some of your credentials lately because you've won an award. You were very early on with this. I've been watching you for a long time, and you were very early on with the adoption of AI. I mean, you and I have talked about this because I think both of us share that. But talk about your recent award. I want you to make sure you talk about that.
Thank you. I won the Educational Innovator Award at McMaster University, and I won that award for being the first person or the first part-time professor in my department to integrate ChatGPT into an assignment. So rather than, taking the approach that we're not allowing students to use AI, guess
Right.
what? They're going to do it anyways. So having those skills to use artificial intelligence, safely, responsibly, particularly for marketers, which is who I teach, it only makes sense. And I didn't even know at the time that I was the first person to do that. I went, wow, okay, that's great. But I was really looking to move the needle forward in my marketing courses that I teach there. Um, and giving people the latest information. Like AI
Yeah.
is not a trend, it's not going away.
Right.
Smart marketing folks are using it anyways.
Yes.
So why don't we teach them how to use it in a professional context and grade them on that, give them feedback on that. It only made sense. So I appreciate you bringing that up. That was a nice award to win. Didn't even know I was nominated, but hey, that's always a treat.
We'll
And
take it. And then
yeah.
also you because I was a guest speaker, you did a micro certification at Humber, was that correct? And
Yes.
wow.
I started a new micro credential
Okay.
at Humber College, and you and Liz were kind enough to come and join and be guest speakers in the first round. It's a 5-week virtual program, essentially 5 workshops, let's call it,
Right,
that
right.
happen once a week. So it's very customized to folks who are busy, which many
Yeah.
of us are,
Yeah.
entrepreneurs, nonprofit educators, anyone with an interest. And it went really, really well. We had such a great group, and we're going to run that again starting May 15th.
Wow, that's great. So you had the first cohort was good feedback and everything. And also, I mean, when things are changing so fast, it's also, I mean, it's not like you're teaching medieval poetry, here from France. Like you kind of know going in, but that you need to keep it fresh. But that's what keeps us current on top of it anyway, right? And anyway, all right. Well, congratulations on all of that. And
Thank
it,
you.
and also I think being involved and first to the party shows also that that's how you learn expertise. That's how you get the range. And just to finish on this thought, you talking to all these disparate audiences, B2B and like resorts, and that's great for you because you're getting a sense of what's real out there and what do I really need to know and what makes a difference. So congratulations.
Thank you. And I love talking with folks in different industries
Yeah.
because I find as marketers, we can sometimes get stuck in that marketing
Yes.
context.
Yes, totally.
Um,
And
uh,
also, sorry to interrupt, but Liz and I went out to dinner last night to celebrate our 400th member. But it
Congratulations.
was an excuse to go to dinner. But what all three of us were talking about, like Henny was there too, was how that's a trap to fall into because AI is so much bigger than just the marketing aspects. It touches so many aspects of businesses, small and large, right? That yes, the marketing, we're looking at it through a marketing lens because that's what our professional careers has been. But you're foolish to just put blindsiders on about and just make it about the marketing because it's cascading into so many factors. I mean,
Absolutely.
it's analyzing hundreds of thousands of mammogram X-rays, for example, right? That's not
Mhm.
marketing, but that's communications actually in a way for a hospital brand or a medical brand, you
Yeah,
know?
absolutely. And the top sort of industries that AI can disrupt or will disrupt are things like healthcare and legal and
Yeah,
marketing is certainly in there. It's making a huge impact, but it's smart to take that broader view, like you're saying, and pay attention to how AI is disrupting the workforce in a global
yes,
way.
yes,
Like I read a stat from the IMF a couple months ago that said they think AI is going to disrupt at least 40% of all jobs, like
sure,
all jobs, not
sure.
just marketers, not just, specific folks, everyone.
Yeah.
So I think helping people prepare for that and getting them started at the very least is a really exciting and fulfilling part of my job.
Yeah, and also just to kind of stop with the hand wringing and the fear fact that, you can't put your head in the sand about this. It's happening anyway.
Yeah.
Um, Martin and I were talking about the educational side. About a year ago, I was like, okay, where's everyone going with adaptive learning? And there was crickets in the room mostly, but not now. Like,
Right.
it's really happening. I've been sitting in on webinars with like 2,500 teachers in the States, and there's a real sense. I mean, and that's another thing we can talk about, but there's still people with their head in the sand about this, especially in the
Yeah.
educational field, I think. Like,
Yeah.
but you're doing the good work because the more we get out there and say, look, this is going to happen, let's use it for good, let's use it to improve learner outcomes, right?
That's
Anyway,
right. Yeah,
okay.
we need to embrace it. We need, as educators, as trainers, as consultants, as marketers,
Yeah.
I really strongly believe, and I know you agree, we need to embrace this technology and we need to make it work for us.
Yes, we
So
we need to be
understanding what that means.
we need to be the people that shape the governance, not because let's face it, we can't really count on the government to do that for us at this point. They can barely get, they can barely handle the things they got on their plate. Okay, we talked about this a little, but the second question is how do you, and I want you to just show me both sides of this, but we've talked about the professional life. How do you use AI today in your professional life and your personal life?
Oh, I like this question. So I work alone a lot
Right.
when I'm, working and preparing for talks and teaching courses. I like to use AI chatbots like ChatGPT and Perplexity.ai as brainstorming tools.
Yeah.
So if I'm feeling a little stuck or in need of some new ideas for something, I ask AI. And I'll ask it, for example, to generate a list of, let's say, 10 or 20 new ideas for a particular thing. So, for
Yeah.
example, I have a weekly email newsletter. By the way, it's not written by AI, but I have asked AI before for themes and
Sure.
topics and ideas, and that gets my brain moving in the right direction.
Yeah.
Then I can kind of take that away and I can build on that. Or I could ask the AI tool to expand on one or two ideas that caught my eye, and I use it to help do some of the legwork.
Sure.
So really, it's just about using it to boost productivity for me, using it to take some of those lower level tasks off my plate or speed them up.
Yeah.
And anyone that's a writer, I come from a marketing background, 15 years in marketing and a lot of content I've done over the years. Sometimes you are trying to write something and you're just stuck.
Yeah.
And that's where AI, I think, can be a huge help, where it can not necessarily do all the whole thing for you or all the work for you, but it's gonna definitely help you get going and avoid that dreaded blank screen. So I
And
really like it for that.
yeah. And like you said, it's more of a like wonderfully enabled assistant. And I mean, I think,
Yes.
and I'm like you, and also it just shows you anyone who writes knows this. It's in the edit where the writing becomes.
Yeah.
And to your point, sometimes oh, I didn't think about that. And then you've got that bullet point, and then you can flesh it out and have it. Yeah, I totally agree with you. I totally hear you that. And I think that's what we're hearing from a lot of people and especially in the marketing side. Martin was funny. He was like, I prefer to write everything myself, but he does use it for iteration and listing and that sort of stuff and summarization.
Yeah, and editing is useful too. So I'm quite active on LinkedIn. Folks are welcome to follow me there. I give tips and news on AI and marketing. And sometimes when I'm crafting a post, I will run it through a tool like ChatGPT Plus and ask it for feedback. So it'll sometimes give me suggestions to make my posts a little bit more perhaps concise or stand out a little bit more. I don't want my posts to look like they've been written by AI. I don't
Yeah.
like a lot of emojis. I don't like that overly verbose style that
Yeah.
ChatGPT can give you sometimes.
I've noticed a
Um,
real trend with the emojis. Is that AI popping them in? Because
yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. ChatGPT is really bad for that. And when I see that straight away, I know that
yeah.
it's been written by AI. I don't judge people if they do want to use
Yeah.
it, but I never use it to write the whole thing,
Right.
just to provide me perhaps some feedback. So I would say act as editor, and then I would cut and paste what I'd already drafted, and then I would review then what ChatGPT gives me in return. And I'll be frank, sometimes I think, oh, that's a better version of what I was
Yeah.
trying to say, and sometimes I'm like, yeah, you know what? I think my post actually was fine. It was good. I just needed that second set of eyes or that feedback.
You know what? There's a dramatic, and I can't remember the stat. I really should, but you know me, and there's stats fly through my head. I'm just a million times, but people are using it as a ChatGPT, especially as an analyst, as a therapist, as a
Mm.
just I mean, anyway, that's just what about your personal life?
I don't use it a lot in my personal life. I've learned over the years, this is an interesting sort of fact for the folks on this who are self-employed or work in the digital marketing space. You can spend a lot of hours on social media, on AI tools. Is that great for your mental health? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah,
I have small children, as you know, so I'm a little bit more strict with the use of technology after business hours.
right,
So unless I need something like, for example, I have like some eggplant and some onions, and I'm like, gee, what am I going to do with? I can't think of anything to
right,
use
right.
to cook this. I could ask ChatGPT for a recipe, and certainly it can do that. Typically, I actually don't use AI much at all in my personal life, and same with social media. I've kind of moved away over the years from sharing a lot of my personal life. Maybe it's
Yeah,
because I don't want my kids, front and center out there.
right.
Um, but I'm a little bit more, I would say, cautious when it comes
Well,
to
and
that.
also they're super young, so you want to spend the quality time with them.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
Your life is not lived behind a screen.
no.
Your life is lived in those moments with your friends and your family. And this is my work, and I absolutely love it. But after dinner, we hang out and we do other things.
Well, and that's the healthier way. That's the healthiest approach too. All right, now the scary question: what do you fear most about it?
Mm.
What the question is: what do you fear most about the changes that AI will certainly bring?
Yeah. Okay. A couple things. I fear the people who will lose their jobs. I
Yeah,
don't like that. I think it is inevitable for some, and that's an unfortunate reality. Some folks will be left behind by automation and the growth of
sure,
AI. I fear the impact on children as they grow up. So my kids are age 2 and 4. They're going to grow up partially with AI, in their orbit, in their world.
sure.
We know already that social media is not great for kids,
Yeah,
but how do you keep kids away from artificial intelligence? Like it's only going to grow in adoption. It's going to be used in different ways. It's probably going to be used in the school system in some way, shape, or form. And I worry about the next generation of kids having their human relationships
yeah,
replaced by technology. I don't like that. It makes me a little uncomfortable. And I have read articles about, like, for example, young men having like these chatbots as a substitute for an actual girlfriend.
yeah.
Like they can, the chatbot becomes the stand-in. They can talk to them. They can, like, that's not a real relationship. That's not the way humans are supposed to be. And I know it's tempting when the tool is right there. It could be used for all sorts of things, but I don't like that technology, that side of the technology.
No, and the studies with young girls and Instagram and stuff, the numbers are just horrifying. And we all, I mean, as we were looking, you and I, we became a culture where everyone just stands and stares at their phone 24/7. I mean, I walked into the Hilton lobby here in Toronto and just, going through, I mean, it wasn't just phones. people were sitting in front of laptops and sitting in front of screens and iPads. And it was like, it looked like the entire lobby of the whole hotel, and there was hundreds of people. So
Yeah.
I hear you. And I think I try and bring this out as much as we can on the community. And when I talk is, these tools are super powerful. It is a major innovation and change to our lives. But I think the clarion call needs to be this puts the human life or the human aspect of being a human forefront.
Yes.
We cannot lose that. And it
Yes.
should be here to serve us and make our lives better.
Yes, yes, I agree wholeheartedly. And it's up to us as a culture
Yeah.
to make sure that that happens. And I think the question then becomes, well, who's in charge of this? Like, who is making the decisions? Is it the
It-
government?
you,
Like,
you
can
know
we
what,
rely on them? I don't know.
No, it's really scary, and that's what Elena, I forget Unisov. I wish I
Yes,
should be able to pronounce it. You know who I'm talking about.
yes,
She's amazing. She was on that panel with Fab and I. That's where I met her.
yes, yes.
But she's doing the Human Feedback Federation. I forget the name of the association
Yeah,
I'm talking
foundation.
to.
Yes.
But I sat in on some. In fact, I posted it in the community. A webinar. She has a reading group on Discord, and
Hmm.
Emily, it's fascinating because it's very scholarly, it's academic, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
but Emily, the papers are like, even if you get a little out of it, some of them are way over my head. It's just equations and it's it's programming really and
sure.
machine learning. But 2 weeks ago, there was a group of legal scholars from Stanford, and they were discussing testing the GPT-3 for, I think there was three models they were testing for legal hallucinations when doing legal
Mm,
work. And it was
yeah,
just fascinating to see that level of testing and detail. Um,
yeah.
but because, like you said, it's going to affect the legal business for sure.
100%. And like the role of a paralegal, I'm not a legal expert, but the role
Right.
of a paralegal may be one that I could see being
Yeah,
changed in
sure.
a big way. And then the lawyers are the ones who are still overseeing everything.
Yeah,
So I think like having the AI tools do some of the legwork or the prep work, and
yeah,
then having the expert, whether that's a marketer or a lawyer or a CEO or the owner of a business, they have to have the ultimate control and the ultimate sort of oversight over everything that AI is being
sure.
used for. And also understand some of the risks, like you were saying, those hallucinations. That is when the tool just kind of makes stuff up, and
Yeah.
like you can't
And
ruin
it
your
and
business reputation
and it
because
does it like really convincingly with all.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's wild. And like some people are educated on that and some people aren't exactly.
Right.
So whatever corporate training sessions I do or webinars or anything like that, I always make sure I include like just a little bit of information about the risks and some
Sure.
do's and don'ts, so that anyone new to AI will at least understand, you need to take precautions when you're using this technology. It's fantastic, and you should absolutely experiment with
Sure.
it, but also know that it's not going to nail it 100% every time.
No, and also that all applies to marketing as well. Like I'm quite fascinated because I'm seeing more and more about people using AI and large language models for like, brief strategies, creative strategies, and integration and marketing strategies, which might do
Yeah.
like you were talking about before, even if you're in a smart agency with smart people, it might just come up with a new angle for this approach or a new insight and competitive analysis, right?
Mm-hmm.
As some models search and scrub the web better, like Perplexity, who can
Yeah.
do more on the kind of the strategy work. So, and then you can go all the way. We're going to have a data analyst. Liz is going to talk to a data analyst
Great.
the next week, I think, because I mean, as much as we can be smart marketers, we're not all data analysts, and
Of course.
to be able to load spreadsheets and data and real world data and
Yeah.
into tools that can do the analysis. But that, to your point, it's up to the marketer, the client, the agency themselves to do the final kind of call.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. It's having that oversight, double checking, fact checking and everything. I have some nonprofit and community development corporations as clients. They were telling me that they've used AI to help them craft grant proposals.
Yes,
And they
sure.
found that's an amazing use, but with the catch that their grant proposal can't sound like the next guy's grant proposal,
Right.
right? So they have to really watch it and they have to be careful to customize everything and ask very specific prompts. Prompt engineering, let's call it, or prompting. It's a really important skill to have.
Yes, and also the a lot of, I mean, I've been using this quote lately because sometimes people get it immediately. We're living through the revenge of the liberal arts majors because this is my theorem. Um, the more generalist you are, the more kind of you can understand the models because the models have been trained on liberal arts copy in many ways, history. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I mean? I'm generalizing, but
Yep,
you get
yep,
it. So some people just are bad communicators, no matter what, or
yeah,
challenged in that way. So
yes,
they don't understand that they can talk to like, no, think about this, talk about, no, emphasize this, or can you expand on that,
yeah,
or put that in another tone, or do the research. So
yes.
yeah, and of course now with so many models coming online, that's going to be like, what model are you using?
Yeah, I find ChatGPT is usually the place where people start
Yeah,
because it really was the first big one out the
yeah.
gate. But now we have so many options and there's almost too many to choose from. Some folks
Well,
are
and
like,
it,
wow, where do I start? You know?
Well, and it's becoming a whole industry to just keep track of which one to use. Like,
Yeah,
for example, Claude, I find just in my testing, my little testing, that Claude is more suitable to marketing in some ways. It's just more
yeah.
conversational friendly. All right. Well, this has been wonderful. The final question, and arguably the most important, what is the best sandwich?
I love this question and I have a very strong opinion about it.
Good.
Pulled pork on a bun with coleslaw,
Oh, you are a woman after my own heart. Because really, when it's good, there's kind of nothing better. Like,
right?
yeah,
Right? I'm
yeah.
getting hungry now.
I
I need
know.
some pulled pork in my life.
Well, and it's also not the kind of thing you can really whip up at home either. Like,
Yeah, I have made it before, but it takes a long time. It's like
yeah,
a full day affair.
yeah. It's either a slow cooker or a pressure cooker kind of thing.
Exactly. Yeah.
But also, I'm glad you mentioned this law because it's kind of important. Like, if it's not, I can eat a plain
Yeah.
pork sandwich, but when you have this law, you get the crunch and you get the
Yes.
tartness of the vinegar.
Yes. Highly
Cool.
recommend.
All right, I'm going to be on the lookout for a good one now, and we can
Awesome.
next
We'll
time
have
we
one
speak.
together sometime.
Yes, we will. All right, thank you, Emily, so much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna put up the recording in a day or two. I'm gonna put up
Okay.
and thanks for being part of the community, and we look
Yes,
forward to
thanks for
seeing you.
having me.
All righty.
Yeah. Awesome.
Have a great night.
You too. Take care, Stephen. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.